So today's news is rather interesting. We have a mixed bag of players organizing protests over the loot changes, BioWare getting harassed over on Twitter, some stuff being digged from the past, and in this whole sea of red, we also have some new items being data mined, probably even dropping sometimes this week or in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, pretty strange Monday, I might say. But anyway, what's up everybody? Craze Gaming here, back with some more Anthem stuff to talk about, and man, do we have a lot of stuff to talk about. If you were unaware, there's this huge thread right now over on Reddit, and it garnered at the time of making this video almost 6,000 likes and over 1,000 comments, and it's pretty much a protest organized by the fan base to stop playing Anthem for a whole week up until BioWare comes in and hopefully changes the loot system back to how it was again on Friday. We've talked about this way too many times in the past. Of course, BioWare came in and changed all of that, and now we're pretty much here. So the thread goes in like this, and get your point across, simple as that. Stop playing the game for a whole week, hopefully with the support of the entire subreddit, to show BioWare that all it takes for us to really enjoy the game is to receive loot. And yeah, there's a lot of people over here expressing their concerns about the loot in the game, about how they don't feel rewarded, and how the time they invest in the game doesn't provide the amount of loot and the quality of loot that they would be expecting from this type of game. And I tend to agree with them on that. The game doesn't really do a great job, as I've said in the previous video, of providing a meaningful progression after you hit a certain point, as you're pretty much relying too much on RNG. But this kind of devolved into a really messy situation right now, with BioWare even being harassed over on Twitter, and there's some really mean comments coming over from a lot of the players, a lot of the former, I'm not even sure if I should even say fans, because they're definitely not fans at this point. But Jonathan Warner even came in with this tweet in a reply to somebody who clearly stepped the line, and he says, "This is how you get blocked. I'm more than happy to have a good conversation and debate, but abusive BS like this is not in bounds. Hashtag blocked." And of course, I'm not gonna read the comment of that person, but it was pretty mean, I'm not gonna lie, and I'm going to have to agree with Jonathan on this one. This definitely steps the line. It's one thing to provide constructive criticism and, you know, just contribute as much as possible to having the game improved, which in turn is benefiting everybody, and a whole different matter to go on Twitter, go on a rant, and even more so, cuss the hell out of developers. That is not something that I condone, and honestly, this is an appropriate response. It's actually quite a chill response, straight out just being blocked. And again, I'm going to have to say that even though that there's been a lot of problems with the game, BioWare did came in with a lot of prompt updates, and it definitely shows, but there's still some lingering problems with the core mechanics of the game. With that being said, until BioWare comes in and changes that, that's gonna take some time. The previous statement on the subject wasn't really calming any waters, I might say. If a problem such as this is taking months to resolve, that is really a concerning thing. You're not going to have a fan base staying too much with your game if that is taking months to sort out, time in which other games come out, players just, you know, stop playing your game and go in other directions, and that is going to be even more hellish come while later today when the Division 2 is going to drop by. And I'm not gonna lie, I also pre-ordered it, I'm going to play it. I'm still going to play Anthem, by the way, so don't get it twisted. I'm going to play both of the games, but with Division 2 surprising me in the betas and in the open demo, I honestly felt compelled to also buy it, because it definitely does a lot of things right. We'll see how well it does after the game releases, because there was a honeymoon phase with Anthem 2 prior to its release, as well as 1 or 2 weeks after its release, and only recently have things started going down really bad. I mean, it was manageable a couple of weeks back, but now it's devolved into a point that I haven't seen in gaming in a very long time. I think this is even worse than No Man's Sky, and I've stuck with No Man's Sky. If you check my previous videos from a year back and even like 6 months back, I've stuck with that game for its entire duration, and even then I haven't seen such a level of, you know, hate towards developers as I've seen back then. But maybe I'm mistaken, maybe I remember things wrong. Nonetheless, a lot of people on Reddit have started doing their own calculations on what it takes for you to get, you know, perfect god rolls and what types of stats you need in order to get your build ready for Grandmaster 3, which we all know that is the pinnacle of the end game. Grandmaster 3 is the highest difficulty, and of course that is the place you'll want and strive to go towards. But it seems that Anthem just doesn't do a great job at pulling you into it, because there's no reason for you to spend time in a content that takes hours to complete and rewards you nothing better than, let's say, Grandmaster 1, which you complete in like 10-15 minutes at most. So here's some calculations from somebody called Acidic Swords, and he made some pretty damn good calculations over here. Like, he's definitely on point. So basically, in case you didn't know this, the damage modifiers in Anthem are additive and not multiplicative. So if that makes any sense to you, it basically adds to your current damage instead of multiplying it. So let's say, for example, you find a weapon with 3 inscriptions on them, each providing 100% damage, which is a god roll. I'm not gonna lie, it's a god roll. So even in that situation of extreme luck, the calculations go like this. So the first 100% that applies to your weapon is going to double your damage. So if your damage is like 800, it will now do 1600 damage. The next plus 100% inscription on it will not further double it, but instead only increase it by another 50%. So this will go even lower on the third plus 100, which will only be an overall plus 33% on your overall damage. So that plus 300% that you see on all of your inscriptions on your weapon are not going to triple or quadruple your damage. It's only going to be like less than double your current damage. If you get what I'm saying, it means that you're not going to be ready for Grandmaster 3. That is basically it. To double your damage from the initial doubling, you will need another plus 300% for a total of plus 500% in total. And I'm not gonna lie, I have not seen a single item posted by any single person providing a total of plus 500% damage across all of its inscriptions. I would call myself lucky if I even find one with plus 100% or 150%, let alone 200, 300 or 500, which I have never seen in my whole life. But I talked about some stuff being digged from the past, and I wasn't lying. All of the problems that you see right now, the drip feeding of the cosmetic items in the cosmetic store, the loot drop rate issues, these have been voiced actually 1 or 2 years back in a different game that BioWare worked upon. So in case you're familiar with Star Wars The Old Republic, which is an MMORPG, I used to play this like 5 years ago. I really liked it. I only played like a trial or when it went free to play, I can't really remember, but I had a lot of fun in it. Well, it seems that BioWare made some strange decisions along the lines, which pretty much go in line with what we're seeing today in Anthem, as in not enough cosmetics to even spend your money upon, a lot of strange decisions which made the loot progression really hard and unsatisfying to say the least. And yeah, a lot of players expressing their concerns, and they have expressed this for quite some time now. And of course, this isn't something addressed to a single person. Obviously, it's not one single person that creates the game. It's not just one person leading the entire studio and all of that. There's multiple producers, game directors, and so on and so forth. But it's basically the entire studio right now being engaged into this, and hopefully they do come in and correct some of the ways that they have been doing things in the past, because those clearly didn't work and it's not the way forward. It's definitely not going to be the way forward now that there's a lot of other games, a lot of competition, and even more so more coming up. Nonetheless, in this whole sea of red, as I've said, there might be some good news, and I mean semi-good news, it depends on how you want to take it, but somebody has determined a bunch of new armor sets that we might get to see in the cosmetic shop, and honestly I find some of these to look really interesting, and of course they are in the theme of the scars. So somebody posted about some new stuff coming soon. It looks like we'll be getting scar themed armor sets soon, one of each javelin. Not sure if they are going to be in the coin/shard store or from a new stronghold cosmetics chest/key thing. So we have the interceptor first. It looks pretty interesting. Then we have the storm, very similar to that, with those spikes on the head and those makeshift helmets and body armors. We also have the Ranger, which looks the most different of them all. Of course, the color scheme here just doesn't do it justice. It's in the theme of the scars, but the color scheme isn't really the best. They look good as models, but the colors on them are pretty bad. And of course, finally, we also have the Colossus, and Colossus also looks nice. I really hope we get to have the Colossus with this open head over here and not have it covered like we have with the other armor sets. And we definitely need like a convertible Colossus. This has been expressed by other players in the past as well. Just a way to remove the top of the head to have the helmet exposed, that would be nice. And it looks like this particular armor set has that, at least for this Colossus. Now tell me what you guys think about this armor set. Do you think this is good enough? Do you like it? Are you going to buy any of these? Personally, I really like the scar theme. I think it looks cool. That makeshift armor set definitely looks nice. But in the meantime, a thumbs up would be super appreciated. Also aim that subscribe button if you want to see more of this, and I'll see you guys next time.